I'm Elliott Forrest from WQXR, and joining me now is Michael Tilson Thomas. You know him from the San Francisco Symphony, also the conductor laureate of the London Symphony Orchestra, and the founder and artistic director of the New World Symphony. Lovely seeing you virtually.
Yes, virtual pleasure.
Let's just start with what would you have been doing if you weren't home right now?
Oh my God. Well, I would have been in the midst of a major European tour with the San Francisco Symphony, which was meant to be the sort of culminatory tour of my 25-year long music directorship, which we're hitting every major music capital with a couple of programs in nearly every place.
In a way, you were kind of gypped out of the end of your tenure with the San Francisco Symphony. You've been the longtime conductor there. Esa-Pekka Salonen takes over in the fall, and there was a lot planned for right now. That must just obviously be very disappointing.
Very disappointing, and especially because the last concerts we did just before the tour, the orchestra was so up in such a joyous mood because we were doing a lot of repertoire like Mahler 9 and Mahler 6 and Complete Firebird and uh, Concerti with Daniel Trifonov and uh, Gauthier Capuçon. These are all pieces that we've done a lot. It's really in our blood. We have a very personal way of approaching them. So I think that was very much our sense of expectation, anticipation of playing these pieces in this quite colorful and personal way that we have developed, and it was not to be. But compared to the travails that the world is going through, it seems something minor. And this year I've had quite a number of victory laps in one place or another. So uh, we'll see how much of these plans we can move on to future seasons.
You are obviously continuing with the New World Symphony. For those who don't know, just maybe briefly what that is.
It's an academy now 32 years old, which I founded in Florida. It has an amazing building, the New World Center, which was designed by my old friend Frank Gehry. And it is really a multimedia center. We're able to do extraordinary work in music, but also in video from there.
And the orchestra, where do the members come from?
They are graduates of outstanding conservatories and universities. Uh, they either have bachelor's or master's degrees, and they come to work with us, and we have a very, very high success rate in placing our musicians in great ensembles, great orchestras, chamber situations, and also in some cases in educational and administrative situations as well. So it's a kind of leadership program. It's kind of like everything they didn't teach you in Harvard Business School except for music.
Obviously, so many artists, creative people, classical music included, are taking a lot of this work online. What part of your world is being transferred to being online, whether it's performances or commentary, education?
Well, one thing, New World Symphony today, I believe, is launching on its site, Mosaic and other parts of the New World Symphony site, the beginnings of some archival performances, which we have done over the years. The first one being a performance of Schumann Third Symphony, which we did quite recently. And before it, I am interviewing a couple of fellows of the Academy who were playing the performance, as well as Sarah Willis, my old friend, who's the low horn player and soloist in the Berlin Philharmonic, and who frequently comes to visit us. So we were all talking about this music and what it means to us, and some particular things about Schumann, and also some particular things about where we are now, what we had for dinner, and all these things.
People can find this on the New World Symphony website, I'm certain. Assuming some relative normalcy goes back with the New World Symphony, you do a lot of educational outreach. That's always been important to you, hasn't it?
Certainly, I mean, my involvement with orchestras of young people has been since I was myself a young person eons ago. My first orchestra was the Young Musicians Foundation debut orchestra in Los Angeles, with which we did all sorts of West Coast premieres of late pieces by Stravinsky and so on. Uh, and I basically have continued through my Tanglewood years and uh, other years in institutes in Japan, like the Pacific Music Festival, of which with Bernstein I was co-founder. And then the idea of the New World Symphony, which some 30 years ago uh, began and has been a tremendous location, a tremendous foundation for the lives of some thousands of musicians.
Are you finding some artists are finding this new forced time, in a sense, is a little bit of a gift? That there's a little bit of time for creativity. I know you're a composer. Have you? I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but are you looking at any positives through this? As some called it, a forced sabbatical.
I'm going to get round to that. I mean, of course, because of these two major organizations, San Francisco New World Symphony and, of course, London Symphony, with all those organizations, I have been doing a certain amount of online work, uh, conferencing, planning, dealing with the mechanics of shutting things down, and then already imagining the process of starting them up again. But I have been looking at a few pieces, thinking a few little editorial niceties that I want to take care of, and what might be the next of a number of possible pieces I might embark upon. In my case, as a composer, I have these notebooks that go back many, many years. Recently, there was a performance that Yu Jia Wang played in Carnegie Hall of a piece that I really wrote when I was 19 years old,
Well,
uh, and which is quite visionary, I have to say. Uh, and so I could go back to a lot of different sketchbooks, and I'm also trying to think about writing a very cheerful song.
my main goal of this series was just to let people know that you are okay, that you're safe, and that you're healthy, and that we all hope we can get back into these live performances soon.
Absolutely. I know a lot of musicians I've been talking to are talking a lot about that they're cooking much more and trying out lots of new recipes, and also going about cooking in a slightly more responsible way. And that I think we all now are looking at our larders and thinking, well, with what I've got right here, what's the best thing that I could do? Or what do I have left over from the last couple of days that still could be reprocessed in a creative and interesting way?
Yeah, every night it's an episode of Chopped at our house. What do I have that I can throw into this and that? Totally, 100%. Well, keep up the good work. It's lovely to see you.
Me too.
I'm hoping that we obviously come to an end with all of this and we get back in the concert hall for live performances.
Well, that will happen, and I think in some ways when that does happen, that people may be appreciative in a whole new way of the lovely experience it is, not just to hear the music, but to share the experience of music in one another's company.
Michael Tilson Thomas, always good to see you.
You too. Ciao for now.